Welcome to yoga. I'm Hope. I'm one of the yoga teachers at the CRC. So this yoga class is styled like a normal vinyasa class, which just means that we're moving in time with our breath. This one especially focuses on the breath. Yoga in general means union or to join. So we're trying to join our mind and our body together for class. Just some announcements really quick. The CRC right now is doing remote yoga now. So we're going to be posting some videos online for you guys in lieu of our normally scheduled classes. So definitely keep a lookout for those. And then otherwise, since we're not at the CRC, we don't have access to some of our normal yoga props. So I'm going to suggest some things that you can do or use as your props for this class. And then otherwise, in lieu of a blanket, I'm going to be using a towel today. And then you can also use a towel as your yoga mat, kind of like I'm doing here to give my yoga mat a little bit of extra cushion, just so I don't get poked by a nail. If you do, I might recommend maybe using two. And otherwise, if you guys don't have a yoga block, here's just a couple of other ideas that you can use as a yoga block. I've got a recipe box. Anything box shaped really is good. This one's kind of nice because it's got like kind of a flatter side and a taller side. I also have over here a candle. Again, just kind of anything that you can use to stabilize. One of the things that I said in my other videos, if you are using your yoga blocks for a restorative pose where you might be like leaning back on them or using them to sit on or something like that, you might want to put a towel over something like a box, like a wooden box that's got hard edges, just to kind of protect yourself from that harder surface. One of the other things that I use is just a wooden box as my yoga block. That's a wasp. But we're going to have a lot of fun in class today. For our focus pose, while I tell you a couple of other things before we start class today, we're going to come into this resting squat position. If it's a little bit difficult for you to get your heels to come down onto the mat, go ahead and take a blanket and just tuck that below your heels to give you a little bit of extra lift. It can be kind of hard to get down into this pose at the start of your day. But we're going to just do some spinal twists. So we're bringing our hands to our heart. We're inhaling to fill up our chest. And then as we exhale, we're just twisting to our right. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling and twisting to our left. Just coming into connection with our breath. You can put your hands on the ground if that's a little easier. And use your elbows to help you turn. But do this at the pace of your own breath. Inhaling to come to center, lifting your chest, filling up your ribs, exhaling to twist to the right or twist to the left. This yoga class is going to be mostly about having a healthy start to the day. So it's going to be a very breathing focused yoga. We're going to do less repetition and more of just kind of moving in time with our breath through a longer sequence. And then I also always want to tell you guys and empower you guys to decide what is right for yourself in your yoga class today. So if we go to a pose that maybe is feeling a little bit more difficult for you, or maybe some of your joints are like, I don't know if I'm feeling that right now, go ahead and maybe take a rest. Take a child's pose. Come into a more relaxing state, maybe come back to your breathing or your intention, and just make sure that you're doing what's right for you in your body today. My intention for this class is union. I want to be unifying my mind and my body. Alright, so to go ahead and get into our warm-up, we're going to stand up at the top of our mat in mountain pose. We're going to inhale our arms all the way up for upward salute. Lifting our ribs, exhaling all the way down to a forward fold. Inhaling up for halfway lift, depressing our shoulders away from our ears and making sure we have this nice flat spine. Exhaling back down to forward fold, maybe pulling our belly in and holding on to our elbows for just a moment. Inhaling and pressing our hands to the mat and stepping back to plank. Exhaling down through chaturanga. Inhaling up for cobra. So in cobra, my thighs are still in contact with the ground. My shoulders are down away from my ears and my elbows are bent. Exhaling back to downward dog. This is our first downward dog of the day, so go ahead and pedal out your feet if you need to. Kind of individually pressing one heel to the ground while we lift the other heel up. Making sure that our fingers are nice and spread out from each other. Our shoulders are not too close to our ears, and we're lifting our hips high into the air. Inhaling and looking forward towards our hands. Exhaling to step forward, back to forward fold. Inhaling, back to half lift. Exhaling through forward fold, maybe hugging your knees to your chest. Inhaling all the way up for upward salute. As we exhale, bringing our hands down to heart center, depressing our shoulders, and then we're going to sit back into chair, making sure we're grounded through the four corners of our feet and finding that neutral spine. I'm going to exhale my hands down to my knees. We're going to do a few chair cat-cows. Kind of find a good width for your legs here. They don't have to be close together. They can be more like shoulder width apart, but I'm making sure I can still see my toes. I'm going to inhale and arch my back, pressing my ribs forward, lifting my chin and chest, lifting my toes, exhaling and pulling my belly button back, dropping my chin to my chest, tucking my hips, inhale, arching my back, lifting my gaze, exhale, inhale, one more exhale. My next inhale, I'm bringing my hands back to heart center, and we're just going to do 3 sets of calf raises while in this position. So I'm going to be lifting my heels off the mat. So we're inhaling, lifting up, keeping this chair pose, exhaling our heels down. 2 more of those. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. We're going to inhale back to upward salute. And as we exhale, we're just going to side bend over to the right side, feeling that stretch in our left side body and our side ribs. Inhaling back up and side bending to our left side. Inhaling all the way up, stretching up and then taking a bit of a back bend. And then exhaling and bringing our hands back down to our heart center. My next inhale, I'm going to shift my weight to my left foot and raise up my right leg to place my right ankle on my left knee, and then sitting back into a single leg chair pose. Inhaling up, and then exhaling that right foot back for a high lunge. Inhaling my arms up, lifting my chest, tucking my hips. Exhaling, we're going to clasp our hands behind our back and take a bow for humble warrior. Sweeping our arms down on our inhale to come up through warrior 1. So we're dropping our back heel back down, keeping our front knee bent, squaring our hips to the front of the room. Inhaling to straighten my front leg, and then exhaling to hinge at the hips and lean forward in pyramid pose. If you need to bring the ground up to you, go ahead and grab a block and maybe reach down, or you can reach down to your shin, ankle, or foot. Just try not to put any weight on your knee. It's doing a lot of work right now. Inhaling back up, sweeping my right arm up and turning my right foot out, shifting my hips to face out for warrior two. Inhaling to lift my chest and tuck my hips, keeping my knee in line with my ankle. And then as I exhale, bringing my ribs down, depressing my shoulders. On my next inhale, we're gonna straighten that front leg, and then we're just gonna lean over towards that front leg, hinging at the hips again for triangle pose, trying to keep our body in a nice flat line if we can. Maybe looking up, our hands coming down to a block or our ankle, or maybe down to the ground. Inhaling back up, looking back to our front hand, depressing our shoulders as we exhale. On our next inhale, we're going to look towards that back hand, sweep it all the way up and around with our front hand coming to the back. And then we're going to bring that back hand down either to a block or our ankle down to our front foot for a revolved triangle. Looking out, making this twist originate in our core, and then looking up if we can. Inhaling and spiraling back up. As we exhale, we're going to face back forward, lift our back heel, and then slowly come down into a low lunge. Inhaling to lift our chest, and then as we exhale, we're going to rock back on our back knee and pick up our front toes, hinging at the waist, or at the hips, to lean forward with our chest towards our toes. As we inhale, we're going to rock back forward and work our way down into lizard for a moment, keeping our knee in, maybe heel-toeing out this front foot a tiny bit, but working down into a comfortable lizard position. On our next inhale, we're coming up. We're going to lift up our back foot. We're going to take our front knee's hand, so that's going to be our left hand, and reach back to grab that back foot, lifting and opening our chest to the sky. Exhaling to come back down. We're going to heel-toe this front left foot over to the right side of our mat, and then exhale and drop down onto our hips. If you want to place a block maybe beneath that front buttock, go ahead and do that. You can also use a blanket if you like. Just finding a comfortable position for you that's good for where you're at. Making sure to keep this front foot flexed. Inhaling to lift our chest. Exhaling down into pigeon. Inhaling back up, lifting back up our front left foot, coming back into lizard, and then we're going to back up our back foot a little bit and try to work our shoulder under our front knee in lizard. We're going to tuck our toes of our back foot, lift up our back knee, and then we're just going to do a little push-up. Very nicely done, everybody. So walking our hands back to the front of our mat, we're going to take this front foot, sweep it around to the back, and then lower onto our bellies. On our next inhale, we're sweeping our arms out in front, and then lifting our chest as we put them behind us for locust pose. Exhaling down and folding our hands in front of us underneath our chin to rest our forehead on our hands. On our next inhale, we're going to lift both of our back feet and reach back to grab them. As we inhale, we're pulling our feet back and lifting our chest for bow. So inhale up, exhale, all the way back down. Plant your hands, tuck your toes back under, and lifting back up through down dog. Taking a moment to stretch out in down dog again. Inviting one heel to the mat at a time, lifting our hips back up, and keeping our shoulders locked into their sockets. On our next inhale, we're going to rock forward to plank. Exhale, down through a push-up. Inhaling into cobra. So again, my shoulders are away from my ears. My thighs are still on the ground. And exhaling back into downward dog. On my next inhale, I'm looking forward towards my hands and stepping back up to the top of my mat for forward fold. Inhaling up for half lift. Exhaling all the way back down. Maybe grabbing my elbows and releasing my back. I'm going to inhale all the way back up to upward salute. And exhale our hands back down to mountain. Coming back, taking a moment to come back to our breath, back to our intention. Just a few breaths here of stillness. In our next inhale, we're going to lift our arms all the way up, stretching up towards the sky, lifting our front, side, and back ribs. Exhaling our hands to prayer. We're going to inhale, we're going to shift our weight onto our right foot, lifting our left foot to place our left ankle on our right knee, and then sitting back into chair as we exhale. Inhaling to lift our chest and pull our core in. And as we exhale, we're going to take that left foot and step back for high lunge. Inhaling up in high lunge, tucking our hips, lifting our shoulders, filling our ribs up with that good air. And then as we exhale, we're going to clasp our hands behind our back and exhale forward through humble warrior. Inhaling all the way up, releasing our hands, and then dropping that back heel back onto the mat. Maybe you need to scoot that back foot forward a little bit, but coming into warrior one. So my knee is still bent, my hips are nice and square. Inhaling up, and then straightening that front leg. Exhaling and folding from the hips down for pyramid pose. Maybe reaching down to our shin or our ankle, or maybe the ground, or maybe bringing the ground up to us if we need it. On our next inhale, coming back up, we're going to rotate that back foot, our toes out to the left, rotating our hips out, bending our front knee, and exhaling to depress our shoulders for warrior two. Inhaling to fill our ribs and stretch forward. Exhaling to compress our core. On our next inhale, we're going to straighten this front knee back out. We're going to look forward, and then as we exhale, we're just going to tilt that front right hand down to meet our ankle, drawing our back shoulder up, maybe looking up if we can. We need to bring the ground up to us. Our block is always there for us. On our next inhale, we're lifting back up and bending that knee back into warrior two. Inhaling and straightening that front leg. And looking back towards our left hand, we're going to sweep that hand overhead, dropping our front hand back behind, and twisting at the core to come into revolved triangle. Maybe bringing our hand down to our shin or our ankle, or maybe the ground, but focusing in on that twist. Maybe looking up. And then inhaling and spinning back up to our warrior two, bending that front knee. Then next inhale, we're going to turn and face forward, lifting that back heel again for this high lunge, and then exhaling to place our hands down on the mat and dropping that back knee for low lunge. As we inhale, we're going to rock our hips back to rest on that back knee, pulling our front toes up, inhaling our chest up, and exhaling our chest and face forward towards our toes. And then we're going We're gonna inhale and rock back forward, heel toeing this foot out a little bit if we need it to come down into lizard. For me, one side is always a little tighter than the other in lizard, so I'm just gonna find whatever place that this hip is at to be comfortable. Inhaling back up onto my hands. And as we exhale, so inhaling back up onto my hands, I'm going to lift my back foot, taking my right hand back to meet it, if I can, and lifting my chest towards the right side, and then releasing and exhaling back to the front of my mat. I'm going to heel toe this right foot over to the other side of my mat and drop my knee and come into pigeon pose. Inhaling and pressing my hips down to the mat, maybe putting a block under my back hip if I need to, but we're doing whatever is most comfortable. Inhaling and then exhaling to work down into pigeon, maybe pulling forward a little bit to get that nice hip and glute stretch. We're going to inhale back up. We're going to lift up that front right foot and heel toe our foot back over into lizard. We're going to work scooting our back leg back a little bit. We're going to work our front shoulder underneath our knee as much as we can. And as we exhale, we're just going to push down into a push-up. On our next inhale, we're going to pull that front foot back and work down into a prone position lying on our belly. As we inhale, we're going to take our hands and sweep them back towards our toes, lifting our chest for locust, lifting our heels and our feet. Exhaling, folding our hands underneath our chin to come down to crocodile. On our next inhale, we're going to lift our feet up in the back and reach back for them. As we inhale, we're going to push up with our feet, lifting our chest, arching our back for bow pose. And then exhaling to release. Planting our hands down on the mat, tucking our toes under, and exhaling back through downward dog. Again, taking a moment in down dog to stretch out our calves, walking the dog. Lifting our hips back and up towards the sky. For your next inhale, we're going to rock forward to plank. Exhale down through a push-up. Inhale through cobra, so my thighs are on the ground and my elbows are tucked in, shoulders depressed. Exhaling back through down dog. And my next inhale, we're going to look forward towards our hands and step up to the top of our mat into forward fold. Inhale up for half lift. And exhale back down for forward fold, maybe hugging your knees to our chest. Inhaling all the way up to upward salute. Coming back to our breath as we exhale, our hands back down to mountain. Coming back to our focus or our intention, whatever it might be. For our next inhale, we're going to step our feet out a little wider than our mat, so a good bit wider than shoulder width, but whatever's comfortable for you. We're going to inhale, tuck our hips, lift our hands, and exhale to hinge forward from our hips, making sure that my toes and our toes are still pointed towards the front of our mat. Maybe exhaling our hands down onto our hips, but extending out through our head and feeling that stretch in the back of our legs. We're going to inhale, lift our chest, and exhale our hands down to the mat. maybe walking them back through our legs and allowing our spine to bend, tucking our chin to our chest. We're going to inhale back up all the way and step our feet a little bit closer together, so onto our mat now, and then exhale down back into this resting squat or garland pose. Again, if we need to, tucking that blanket underneath our heels just to give us a little bit of wiggle room here. We're going to inhale, pushing my elbows against my knees to help me get this nice chest lift and lower back stretch. As we exhale, we're going to twist to the side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twisting to the side. 2 more of these. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twisting. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twisting. 1 more. Exhaling and coming all the way down onto our mat. Extending our right leg out in front of us, taking our left foot right over our right knee and planting our foot on the mat. We're going to take our left hand just a little bit back behind us and our right elbow to our left knee. We're going to lift our chest, twisting to the left, keeping this hand upright and energized for half forward of the fishers. Inhaling up. As we exhale, maybe twisting a little more. Exhale, back to center. We're going to switch our feet. So our left leg is going out in front. Our right foot is getting planted on the outside of our left knee. And our our right hand is going back behind us. And we're taking our left elbow to our right knee and twisting at the core. We're inhaling up, filling our ribs, and then as we exhale, working for a little bit more of a twist here. Inhaling up and exhaling to twist. Focusing that twist on our core. And then exhaling and letting our feet stretch out on our mat. We're going to do one last inhale up, and then we're going to exhale just for a seated forward fold, bending our knees a little if we need to, but reaching forward, maybe grabbing our toes, lifting our chest, and exhaling to pull forward for this lower back and hamstring stretch. Inhaling, coming back to our breath, back to our intention, and exhaling forward. On our next inhale, we're going to come back up. And as we exhale, we're just going to roll our spine down, 1 vertebrae at a time, slowly as we can manage, all the way down for Savasana. So placing our palms face up on the mat, just next to our hips. Taking a nice big inhale, filling our chest, ribs and belly, and then exhaling out inside. Paying attention to how our body feels, any new sensations that we're getting from it. Maybe letting our eyes fall closed. Still being aware of what's going on around us. Letting thoughts expectations go for right now. Next inhale, just bring whatever intention or focus that you have in mind. And as you exhale, release it. You can always come back to it. Doing the same for any thoughts that come into your head. Slowly letting the sounds of the world start to fade from your focus. And turning that mind's eye